Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, we are going to do kind of like a mid-year financial reset. So here's the tea. The tea is that when we started out 2023, it was looking relatively promising. However, lots of things went badly. So let's talk about kind of like where a lot of our money went and how we dealt with that, and then what we're gonna do moving forward, aka how we will pivot. So January, we hit the ground running. We were prepared to invest an additional $2,000, and $1,000 of that would have gone to our joint brokerage account, $500 to my Roth IRA, $500 to my husband's Roth IRA. We do work with a financial advisor, and we have for the last couple of years, and that's kind of what we had discussed with him, or that's what we've discussed. We are on track to retire early, but we're not going to be bending over backwards trying to make this happen by any means. So, you know, some people retire by 30 or by 40. I was thinking maybe by 50 we would retire, and that would, realistically, that would allow us to live pretty much the same type of lifestyle that we live currently without having to pull back in any way, and then also having the additional money to put towards retirement and then potentially retire early. So it's basically like, I don't know, like a win-win situation. We could retire early and we could still live the same life that we live. So we try to do at least $2,000 additionally towards retirement. Of course, we do invest via our employers as well, and we both work for the public school system, and traditionally they have relatively decent retirement plans. So that's kind of how we started out the year. That was the goal. The goal, one of the larger goals, was to just invest an additional $2,000. So we were scheduled to make our first transfer for this year at the end of January, because I had changed it from the payment being due at the first of the month to later on in the month around the 25th. So this January would have been our first time investing kind of at the end of the month rather than the beginning of the month, which is what we had been doing previously. We would have that money come out of our bank account immediately, and then we'd spend the rest on all the other things, all the other elements of our budget. But we decided to change it in January. So we were on track to do that, except our 2011 Toyota Prius died. And we have technically 3 vehicles. One is like this raggedy pickup truck that barely works and would get you from A to B. Might not get you back to A though, so you have to drive it at your own risk. But so excluding that, we have a relatively brand new Toyota, and then we had the Toyota Prius. And so the Prius died, and so we had some choices whether, you know, we could get a new car, buy a new car, finance a new car, buy a used car in cash. We had some options. And so what we decided to do, based on just how the Prius has stood up over time and how it hasn't had any major issues, and how replacing the motherboard, the whole engine, battery, all of it, everything under the roof, the hood is what they call it. In doing so, we would potentially not like have a new car, but it just seemed like it would make the most sense, and it was the cheaper option. So for something over $3,000, maybe like $3,500, we went ahead and we got that repaired. Then we had a medical bill that we had to pay for $1,000 some dollars. Then my husband decided he was going to go back to school for a graduate degree. So then we paid his tuition, which was like $3,000. And then we had a lot of stuff going on. So basically we contacted our financial advisor, and we were like, we gotta halt all of this and let's potentially reconvene in June, because as of right now we can't really, it takes too much of a headache to kind of focus on all those different things. So for us, it's easy. Stop the additional investment into retirement and focus on what's happening right now. That was a no-brainer for us in particular. So that's what we did, and that's why we're here today. So right now, let's just talk about the goals that we set at the beginning of the year and where we are with them, and just kind of how we're going to pivot moving forward. At the beginning of this year, we said that we would invest $20,000 towards a fire, or $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month is really $24,000, but we were trying to be generous in the event that we skipped a month or two, we would still be at about an additional $20,000 invested. So that was one of the goals. We also wanted to invest $1,000 via stash and do so by making weekly $20 transfers. We also wanted to invest 15% of our paychecks, pay off $13,000 of debt, which would be the remaining balance for my husband's student loans. And then we wanted to pay down our car loan, but we were not trying to hit any figure. We were going to make an additional payment here or there if we could, like, focus a little bit more on that. We were not trying to move mountains or anything like that. In fact, if all we pay at the end of this year, or all we were able to do was an additional payment for $314, that would have been okay with us. It was just like something we would like to do if we had additional money, because we like to set goals based on, you know, like kind of factual information. And then if there's money left over or we come upon some money, then we like to have an idea of what we might do with that money. So that was kind of where we were at the beginning of this year and what we were aiming for. However, when it comes to the investing $20,000, we stopped that payment before it came out, and we've stopped all of them up until now. So we have not actually invested a single dime into our FIRE plan. We have not done any of that. So that one, we're 86 in that, because we're obviously not going to meet that goal unless a large lump sum falls from the sky, which it won't. So we're not going to meet that. Next up, we have invest $1,000 via stash. Now we are on track to meet that. That happens every week, $20. That's pretty simple. That's been happening. Love that for us. That's also a more simple one as well. We are on track to invest 15% of our paychecks at work. That's kind of an easy one too, probably the easier one. As far as paying off $13,000 of debt, we actually are on track with that. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then the last one is paying down our car loan. Again, there's really no way to really track this necessarily. Like I said, if we make just one additional payment, then that would be good for us. So as you can see, mainly it's the investing an additional $20,000 that we're not going to do. In fact, I don't think we're going to invest a single extra penny this year, because we have other goals that have kind of come up. And so we're going to tend to those and revisit those. So let's kind of talk about what the plan is now moving forward for the remaining 6 months of the year. So with 86ing investing the additional $20,000 and investing additional money at all, with 86ing that, we still have the investing $1,000 via stash, which we're on track to do. So we're going to keep our $20 transfers the same. We're on track to invest 15% of our paychecks. We're going to keep that the same. We are on track to pay off $13,000 of debt, which would be my husband's remaining balance. So we are going to prioritize that. And if you do the math, 13,000 divided by 6, then you will get $2,166 roughly. $2,166.67. So we are technically on track for that, and that could actually happen, and we're hoping for that to happen. So we're looking to erase that by the end of the year. Or, hear me out, we could also pay down our car loan, because its balance is actually, I think it's less than the 13,000, just slightly less than the 13,000. So we could do either one. My thought would be that it doesn't matter. If you ask me, I don't know that it matters either way. The only thing that I could probably confidently say, because the student loans are about to come out of a forbearance. So the only thing that I could confidently say is that I currently know what our car loan is each month. It's $314. I don't know. Previously, my husband has never paid $300 or more for his student loan monthly payment. I don't know what's going to happen after the loans come out of a forbearance after like 3.5 years. I have no earthly clue, but my guess is maybe the payment will be somewhere between like $200 and $300, which would mean that it's potentially going to be less than our minimum payment for our car loan. So when you go tit for tat on what these minimum payments might be, the car loan probably is going to be the higher of the two. Again, the balance is also lesser. So if we paid off the car loan, then we would actually have more money each month back into our pocket. And when it comes to our grand total for our debts, we would be able to pay off that one more quickly, obviously, because it's lesser than the $13,000. So that's kind of like what we are thinking as of right now. But another thing that we have to be mindful of is my husband's college tuition. Now, like I said, it kind of just depends on how many classes he's going to take. That will determine how much his tuition will be. So if he takes like 2 classes, his tuition might be like $1,000 in the fall. But if he takes 4 classes, it might be like $2,000. So it's all dependent upon that. But no matter how you slice it, we're not expecting the tuition for the rest of the year to be more than maybe $3,500 max. So with that in mind, and given our income, it does seem as though we could still be on track with either paying off the student loans completely, paying off the car loan completely, either or, investing 15% of our paychecks, investing $1,000 via stash, and the final goal, which would be, of course, to cash flow and have enough money to be able to cover my husband's college tuition. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on. Investing via stash, investing 15% of our paychecks, paying off either the student loans or the car loan, and cash flowing or paying for my husband's college tuition. So that is kind of where we are at right now. I think that's plenty of goals. I don't see us accomplishing any more than this given our current income. Like I said, we will get raises, which is good because I'm thinking that will help. But I definitely don't see us accomplishing much more than I just mentioned. And as far as which debt to tackle, they're basically the same amount. So and I'm assuming that the car loan minimum payment will always be more than the student loans, but I have no earthly clue and will not until the loans come out of a forbearance. But even when they come out of a forbearance, it's not going to provide us with any more guidance, because when you look at the total amount for those 2 debts, they are just naturally around the same amount. And so it doesn't really matter once you kind of consider the total amount of the debts and the fact that we could potentially pay off either one of them. You know, like right now we're on track. As long as, when I say we could potentially do something, I mean it is within our ability, so long as life doesn't life. So as long as nothing tragic happens or crazy happens or whatever, we will be able to have an additional $13,000 to either pay off the loans, because the loans are actually just shy of $13,000, by the way, but we'll have the money to pay off the car loan or to pay off the student loan balance for my husband. Okay, you guys, so that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know how you guys are doing down below in the comment section with working towards your 2023 financial goals. Did you set 2023 financial goals? Have you had to pivot? Have things, because you know, with inflation, we've definitely been seeing the effects of that. So have you had to pivot? Have you noticed any major changes? What are your new goals moving forward for the rest of the year? Definitely feel free to share whatever you might feel comfortable with. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and if you're liking what you're seeing, and I will catch you guys right back here in a few days in a brand new video. Bye guys.